Erev Tov B'tai. Let's continue talking about Passover. We have a lot of things to cover. We have a lot of time also. We got time. We're not in a hurry. It's not even Rosh Chodesh yet, right? So we're okay. Anyway, right, let's talk about the foods, for Passover, the food products, right? Because a lot of things a person has to know, right? If it's kosher, not kosher. So, we already spoke about this, right, a few days ago, that there's a basic difference between the Sephardim and Ashkenazim. The Ashkenazim, they don't eat kitniot. Right, so what does that mean? All those things, that are made from rice, corn, legumes, right? Peas, hummus, right? Chickpeas, all kinds of things like this. Beans, they don't eat Ashkenazim. We do eat all this stuff. We eat everything, So we can have any of this. Whatever we want to have, it's fine, It's all good. There are some people, who have minhag, not to eat this, not to that. I don't know. It's up to you, You want to you want to do your minhag. It's not my business. I'm not going to tell you what to do. But for Sephardim, all these things are allowed, right? So therefore, a person, can go to the store and buy hummus and tchina, right? All these kinds of things for Passover. There's no problem with these things, There's no chametz in these things. It's all good, Baruch Hashem. So a person can go and buy these things. In Israel, they even have kashrut, for Passover, for Sephardim. They have, they're special for Sephardim. Over here, I don't know if they have. They have some things, OU. There are some things they have. But in Israel, they have a lot. You know why? Because over there, half the country is Sephardim, Over here, Sephardim is a small community compared to the Ashkenazim. There's a lot more Ashkenazim. But over there, it's 50-50, So there's 3 million Sephardi Jews over there in Israel. A lot of people there, They need their own kashrut. So they have everything. Baruch Hashem, everything is there. So all these things, there's no problem with them. We eat all these things, so don't be scared, to buy these things and to eat them. Just make sure, that you look at the ingredients, there's nothing in there which is chametz. Also, there's a lot of things regarding all kinds of products, like, cleaning products, all kinds of. One time I saw, they had a bottle of bleach, and it says kasher Pesach, kosher for Pesach. What's over here for it to be kosher? Well, I don't understand. But somebody's eating this thing? If he's not eating it, he's going to die, If he drinks the bleach, he's going to die, So they have, kashrut for all kinds of things like this. The Ashkenazim, they put kashrut on all kinds of strange things, detergent, God knows, I don't know what, pomada, lipstick, all kinds of things, right? They put kashrut, the deodorant, You need kashrut for deodorant? What, you eating it? What do you need it for? What's the right, toothpaste. Yeah, okay, that's the good question, toothpaste. So the truth is, that it's interesting, if you look in the books, about toothpaste, people don't write so much about this, It's like nobody wants to touch it, Nobody wants to get into it. And if you want me to explain to you why that is, I'll explain to you why that is, Because the truth is that toothpaste, the thing is, you put it in your mouth, and sometimes, some stupid people, people who are retarded, they swallow it. There are some retards like this, Also children, sometimes the children will swallow it. When you're a child, you swallow it because it has a good taste, it's sweet, So the child does that sometimes. But the truth is, that anyway, right? Either way, I have to tell you a couple things about toothpaste. Very important things to understand. Number one is I looked, around. A few months ago already I did this, I was writing something. What I found? All the major toothpastes, whether it's Crest, Colgate, Tom's, all these major companies, they all say there's no chametz in there. Everyone says there's no chametz in these toothpastes. There's nothing. So don't worry about it. There is one, they say some kind of a Colgate, which has some non-kosher ingredients, but it's something very unique, something special, something out of the ordinary. But the truth is that, in general, right, toothpaste, the major toothpaste does not have chametz, Sometimes what they have, is kitniot, As we said, right, for us it's okay anyway, like corn, They put sometimes corn, in the toothpaste to stabilize it, to make it stable, whatever, like it's a stabilizer, So for us, for sure, it's no problem anyway, right, because we eat corn, it's for tilas, right, for us it's no problem. But for the Ashkenazim, I'm sorry?
Mint inside the toothpaste,
Mint.
You can use it?
Mint is kosher, right? Not chametz, right? The truth is, the mint over there, it's probably artificial anyway, right? But even if it's natural, it's okay, it's fine, Nothing wrong with mint, We don't have anything with mint. Mint is very good. It's very good, healthy for you. Good to smell it. Good to put it in your tea also, Very nice. Over there in Israel, they put it in the tea. The mint, right? It's a good thing. Okay, whatever. Anyway, right, there's no problem with mint. So as we said, right, the toothpaste, they don't have chametz. And some of them do have kitniot. Now the question is like this, right? They have kitniot, some of them, probably not many, but anyway, the point is this okay for Ashkenazi to buy this toothpaste, So they think, it's a big problem. The truth is, it's not a problem. Even for Ashkenazi. Why? Why do I tell you this? Because the Ramah says right there, Rabbi, in the Shulchan Aruch, says the Ramah, it's batil b'tarovet. So what does that mean? That kitniot, right, if you mix it with something else, it gets nullified. You don't need 60. Even 50%, 51%, that's it, nullified, right? Rove, majority, nullified, right? So anything which is mixed, with kitniot a little bit there, it's nullified anyway. So even for Ashkenazi, it's okay to use this toothpaste. They don't want to listen to this, the Ashkenazim, they start with their chumrot, look in the Ramah, this is your rabbi. Why do I have to tell you about your rabbi? I have to tell you that your rabbi is telling you that it's okay, to eat these things, so to use these things. So why? I'm sorry, what were you saying? Yeah.
You said something else. If it's made before Passover, it's nullified anyway.
That's also true, that's also true what you're saying. But nevertheless, right, either way, there's no problem. But you're right, but there, right, what we said before Passover, it's nullified in 60. You know what I mean? 60, right. But here, it's even majority, 51%. That's good enough, 49% minority. That's already good enough. It's kosher. For kitniot. So the rule is, with the Ashkenazim, I have to tell you, right, my dear friends, they're our brothers, we call them our brothers, right? We're all brothers, yeah. We're one big family. I tell my brothers, Ashkenazim, don't waste your time with this nonsense, talking, worried about kitniot and this thing or that thing, because it's nullified. According to your rabbis, I'm talking. I'm not talking about our rabbis. Our rabbis don't even think about this. They don't even ask this question. But for you also, it's nullified. It says in the Mishnah Berurah also like that. He's the rabbi of the Ashkenazim. Mishnah Berurah, Ramah. They go like that in the Ashkenazim. That's their rabbis. Right? Who do they go like? That's the thing, right? So these things, there's not a problem with them, even for Ashkenazim. That's the truth, the emet, the emet. So toothpaste, right? For sure, right? You can just leave your toothpaste, the old one that you use all year, and you don't have to worry about that. One time I remember, what do you call it? I was in the yeshiva, over here in Queens, right? And it was before Passover, just like now. So we were talking with the rabbi there, So what the rabbi says, I told him, I said, we were talking about soap, So the regular bar soap, whatever, any soap, whatever. So what he was saying, right? This rabbi saying something ridiculous. Ridiculous. What is he saying? He says, for Passover, you should open a new box of soap. Don't use the old one. What difference does it make? Old one, new one. It's all the same. There's no logic, and sigayon. There's no logika. There's nothing there. What does it matter to you if it's open or closed or old or new? It's all the same. So it's the same soap. What difference does it make for you? So all these things, these are ridiculous chumrot, that people have. Make no sense, no logic, no nothing. No sechel. No brains, no brains.
So
I tell you.
Palmaline, what is it? Liquid soap.
Yeah, liquid soap. Yeah, they're all good. Liquid soap, no problem. What are you eating it? What? You're not eating that soap. I'm sorry?
If I'm using now, I can use it.
Yeah, why not? What difference does it make? It's all the same. What difference does it make? I'll tell you even something more. Here's the thing, right? Again, right? Again, right? I'm telling you about the Rabbi of the Ashkenazim. What does Ramah say? The Ramah, who's Rabbi of the Ashkenazim. You know what he says, right? What about wine that you had open, before Passover? Are you allowed to use it? So he says, yeah, he says, if you find any chametz in there, I'm saying, like, there's some crumbs, you can filter it out, he says, and just use it. So even that he allows, to drink wine, which was open before Passover. There's no problem with that either. What difference? All the more so, right, these things, toothpaste and soap, what do you care if it was open before? What does it bother you? It's all ridiculous, no sechel, again, right, no sechel with these things. I don't understand why they bother with this stuff. So, right, let's continue with this, a little bit. Now, let me tell you something even more, right? People are always, chaval, they go to the store, they go shopping for Passover, and, Baruch Hashem, they have in their wallets, they're prepared with a lot of money, they know they're going to spend a lot of money for Passover. So what do? They buy these bottles, of soda, Coca-Cola, Sprite, and they're looking kosher for Passover, What are you looking at? It's all kosher for Passover. There's no Sprite Coca-Cola, which is not kosher for Passover. No such a thing like that. Let me tell you, right? Let's talk about it, right? Let's talk about it. So, the truth is, as he said, for us, right, it doesn't make any difference, which Coca-Cola, which Sprite you're buying. They're all kosher. Doesn't matter which one it is. That's all. Everything is kosher.
During a year?
All year, everything, all year, of course. Yeah.
Ingredients like corn syrup, probably.
Okay, so let's talk about that. Right? We're going to talk about it. But anyway, I'm just telling you, right, in general, for us, there's no difference between the kosher one and the regular one. It's all the same. So why spend twice as much money? These people are making so much money, profiteering, This is mamash, it's immoral, what they do. They charge you twice as much, Instead of charging $3, they charge you $5, $6 for a bottle of soda, What's in there? What do you got in there? Gold? What do you got in there? All they did was they put sugar in there, So sugar is not so expensive. You have to pay twice as much for that? Ridiculous, again, right, same thing. But the truth is, as I told you, right, all these sodas, Coca-Cola, Sprite, ginger ale, all these, there's no chametz in there. There's never any chametz in there. Not this year, not next year, not the year after, not the year before. It's all nonsense, It's all profiteering, money making. It's all people are greedy, greedy people, who are trying to make money. The stores, overcharging, and the companies overcharging, making money, off people, ripping them off. It's immoral, I tell you, it's an immoral kind of a thing. But I'll tell you another thing, right? Here's the thing now. As he said, right? They have corn syrup in there, these sodas, For us, it's okay. We said, right? For us, corn is okay. What about for the Ashkenazi? So even for them, it's okay. You know why? Because it's batal berov. Again, the same thing. The majority is not corn. The majority is water over there. So it gets bottled. Even for them, it's okay. So, why waste money? All this nonsense. What? There was one idiot, I remember I saw one idiot, in the internet. A few years ago, he was advertising all kinds of, writing all kinds of things over there. He was telling people, he says, Armin Hag Ashkenazim, he says, we have to sell the kikniot also. We have to sell it, Not only we can't eat it, so it's not true, The truth is, they say, the Mishnah Berurah, the Ramah, you don't have to sell the kidneyot. Just put it away, you don't have to sell it. It's not chametz, So the Ashkenazim don't have to sell the kidneyot. It's also another crazy, all kinds of crazy stuff that they have, all kinds of exaggerated chumrot. You don't need to sell it, just put it away, put it in your closet. That's all you need to do. You don't have to sell the kidneyot. It's not chametz. Right? And also he was saying, that you got to sell it, and you can't. All kinds of chumrot, you can't do this. You can't. These people, who are telling people these things, they're ameratzot. They don't even know their own rabbis what they say. I'm not talking about our rabbis. They don't even know what their rabbis say. That's how bad it is. That's how ignorant people are. When it comes to these things. The truth is, that the Ashkenazim, in general, right? They're more machmir. When it comes to Passover, they're machmir. They do a lot of chumrot. Which is. That's their minhag, they do a lot of chumrot. But when it comes to these things, that I'm talking about, even their rabbis don't say to be machmir. So there's nothing to be machmir there, all these kinds of things. Chabal, to waste your time with with these things, to spend so much extra money, to buy pomada, lipstick, which is kosher, and all these things that they sell, I remember when I was a kid, we used to buy this stuff, everything is like low quality, deodorant. Right, the pomada, lips, everything low quality garbage, they sell garbage, and they charge you twice as much, for garbage. That's low quality garbage, that's what they sell you, these people. All greedy people, making money off all kinds of nonsense like this. So that's the thing, so you gotta know a little bit, right, what you're doing. So, Mechila.
If you have a product from Israel, from America.
Yeah.
Is it better? I'm not talking about kashrut. Both of them kosher for Passover.
Yes.
So we need, let's say matzot. Is it better to buy it from Israel because the money going to people that lives in Israel? Should I do that? Like think before I'm buying, or it's not important?
Tell you, you do what's good for you. You gotta first, Chesed matchil babayit. They say, right? Tzedakah starts at home.
Let's say
do what's good for you. That's what you gotta do. Don't worry about those people. They're making a lot more money than you do. They're much richer than you, so don't worry about them. Worry about yourself first. That's the thing, right? It's in general, right? You don't have to worry so much about that. But As we said, Rabbi, also like as we said, right, when it comes to wine, wine does not have any chametz. They don't put chametz in wine, so you don't have to worry about that. I mean, it has kashrut, doesn't have kashrut, doesn't matter. They're all kosher. Every wine is kosher.
There is no problem with non-mevushal?
Non-mevushal. So, when it comes to mevushal, right, it's talking about when a goy touches it, you know what I mean? That's the difference.
Can I buy it for a Passover?
You can buy whichever wine you want, right? Kosher wine, right? Whatever you want to buy. Yeah, you can buy anything. Doesn't matter whether it's mevushal, not mevushal.
אבל לא מרושל keeps the goy in the store.
What is he saying? No, truth is, that you don't need that. Why? Because when the bottle is closed, right? If the goy touches it, it's not a problem. It's only a problem when he pours it out, right? Or pours out the wine. That's when it starts to be a problem. Or he opens and pours it also. It's not enough just to open. And he has to pour it out also. Shikshuch. That's the shikshuch, So that's the thing, so it's not really a problem, when it comes to that. You're going to the store, everything is closed over there, nobody's pouring it out over there. But you got to buy kosher wine, right? Of course, kosher. But the truth is, it doesn't need special kashrut for Passover wine. Usually, it does say, kosher. It does say, usually, but it doesn't really matter, It doesn't. I'm sorry.
The kedem and all this stuff. I think it's all
all year round. That's what I'm saying. All the wines are like that. Every wine is like that. There's no chametz in the wine. There's no
But vodka?
So now let's get right to the liquors, right? These things. So truth is, you got to be careful when it comes to liquors. Some of them do have chametz. I'll tell you one thing, right? Something funny. That one time, a friend of mine called me. It was like Erev Pesach. It was already like late, so almost like afternoon, 12 o'clock. He calls me up. He says, "Oh, Rabbi," he says, "I have a bottle of whiskey, and I didn't sell it, So I told him, I said, "Oh." So I was like, "Oh, gee." So you know what I did, right? I hung up the phone. I said, "I'll get back to you. Give me a half hour." What did I do? I called the company, right? I called it Johnny Walker. I called him. I mean, they have people, they have the answer you. They're all like, they have a southern accent, "Hi, how are you, sir?" Right? So I called them up. I said, "Does your whiskey have grains?" Right? I didn't say chametz, right? They don't know what's chametz. I told them they have grains, like the barley, wheat, things like this. So he says, "Yeah." He says, "Sir, we do." He says, "We put mixture, they put corn and also barley, like this kind of thing, right? It's a mixture of all kinds of grains, So it is chametz, mamash, this whiskey,
They don't do like from the bread, what's called, from the grain?
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. Barley, barley, this is grain, right?
Barley is different, no?
Barley is chametz, right? It's one of the 5 species of grain.
Barley is a grain, not a grain. What is it?
Yes.
Anyway, right, as we said, so I called him up, and I told him, I said, "Oh, then I realized, it's chametz, gamur." So what happened, right? I called him back. It was already too late to sell it, It was too late already to sell it. They already finished selling, So what did I do? I told him, I said, "Flush it down the toilet." So you gotta do. What else can you do with this thing? You can't keep it. So I don't really know, to be honest with you, but you got to find out. Like, if you have a certain drinks that you like to drink, you got to make sure, I'll check it for you, Bezat Hashem, I'll check it for you. But there are many right drinks that liquors, that have chametz. So be careful, Also, sometimes vodka is made out of wheat, grains, So you got to be careful. Sometimes they make it from potato, So it depends, Sometimes it's a mixture.
How I know?
You gotta find out. If you don't know, ask a rabbi. To find out for you. To check it. They have like OU. They have lists. Of all kinds of things which are kosher, not kosher, right? Vada Rabbanim. They have also. You call them up. Tell them, what about this one? What's in this one? Or you call the company. You ask them. Whatever, right? Either way, you gotta do something, right? To find out what's in there. That's the thing, So anyway, right? The point is, when it comes to liquors, but wine, they don't put chametz in wine. There's no chametz in there, So they do put like preservatives, like sulfites they call it, right? Sulfites are preservatives. This is not chametz, So it's okay. There's nothing wrong. So wine is okay. Liquors, gotta check it, Gotta make sure you check it. Anything else?
Tequila, I saw the Ashkenazim there drinking.
They're drinking. Okay, God bless them. God bless them.
Don Juan is a green bottle. Don Julio.
Oh,
It's a for Passover.
Oh, good. Okay.
When you go to wine store, it's already labeled whatever Passover.
Right. Okay, that's good. But don't trust the goy. Check anyway. To see what it says on the bottle. You know what I mean? Yeah.
It says Passover.
Every we have the same question. What about the medicine for kids that's sweet? Like
Right.
Tylenol and
So,
It's sweet.
okay. Yeah, so we already said, right, for the Yom Ta'anit, same thing also applies here, If it has no taste or it's bitter, you can take that medicine on Passover. Even if it has chametz inside. No problem. Because you don't taste it. You don't enjoy it, you know what I mean? So if it has no taste or bitter taste, kasher. No problem, right?
It's flavored.
But if it's sweet, right, so you're talking about a pill or a syrup.
No, syrup. For kids.
Right.
Like Motrin,
So
Tylenol,
syrup, you got to find out what's in there. You know what I mean?
ingredients.
Honestly, usually they don't have chametz these things, but sometimes they have alcohol, whatever it could be. So you got to check. You should check it out, right? You can check with the company or check with the the OU, whatever, the rabbanim, the rabbanim. Somebody's got to check it out. You know what I mean? If it's sweet, the syrup, something like that, right? Usually it doesn't have, but anyway, you should check. You know what I mean? That's the way it is. So when it comes to sweet things, as we said, right? As I told you guys already before, right? If you're taking something like a sweet pill, you can just cover it with cellophane, and swallow it like that, little cellophane, right? You're not gonna, you'll be all right. A little bit water, right? Cover it with cellophane, little bit, not too much. Otherwise, you're gonna get a stomachache, right? So that's the way you do it, so you don't taste the sweetness of it. Baruch Adonai Leolam, Amen ואמן. רבי חנינא שאומר אצל הקדוש ברוך הוא ולכל ישראל, לפיכך ירבה להם תורה ומצוות שנתנו לחפץ, למען צדקו יגדיל תורה בידיר.